Hello! Welcome back to Pillow Chat. I'm Georgie.
And I'm Emily.
And today we are going to talk about our opinions on the stresses of the modern day world.
And what we can be doing, and you can be doing, to cope with these pressures and stresses to be as happy as you can be.
Yeah. So, I think this stress at them starts from when we're really young. I mean, all the exams you go through in school.
Yes.
All the sort of cliqueiness of school, all the social pressures. It's building up that stress inside of you from a very, very young age.
Yeah.
I think there was a statistic that I read the other day that, I can't remember the exact figure, but I think 1 in 3 people in London are chronically stressed.
Yeah, that was
as in it's affecting their health, stress, which is mad.
Because it can do. Stress does get to a point where it is affecting you mentally and physically, and it's not something to just dismiss. You have to deal and make sure that you are coping with things, and that your daughter or your sister or your best friend, they're okay, because it's a real issue. Listen, it's harder for us. People aren't moving out from home sometimes till they're 30 years old because it's hard to make a living and to be an entrepreneur and to find a job in the normal world.
Yeah, it's bloody tough.
And don't feel alone with it. And obviously stress can cause a lot of issues. I know that, like Georgie, you suffered from something very badly from it. What did you...
Yeah, so about 2 years ago I was diagnosed with chronic fatigue, ME, which a lot of people, A, don't think is a real thing, including me. I thought it was utter bullshit what the doctor told me. And B, think that it's, I was convinced it was caused by that there was something wrong with my body, and for a good year I was like having tests, blood tests, scans, everything, trying to work out why I couldn't get up the stairs, because I was so drained. It's not just being tired, it's you can't get out of bed.
So interesting.
You can't see properly, there's the brain fog, you can't sometimes speak, you can't put sentences together. Honestly, I've been through, we've both been through quite a lot in our lives, but this is probably one of the hardest periods I've ever been through in my life.
How did you get through it? What measures did you put in place?
I'm not 100% through it now. There are days where it really affects me to the point where I can't work. I have realised that it was caused entirely by stress and anxiety. And it wasn't like it was at a time of my life where something horrible was going on. It was literally the day-to-day stresses that got on top of me that made me physically so unwell. Like the most unwell I've probably ever been in my life.
And it's such an example of how stresses can affect you physically.
Yeah.
And accept it, and actually there needs to be awareness of things like this, because you have to feel that something is actually wrong and you deserve to be treated and get better.
Yeah, you're right. Mental stress and anxiety can damage massively your health and your physical well-being. And I didn't make that connection for a very, very long time, and it's since I made that connection that I began to sort of listen to my body. And when I'm tired, I have to stop.
And it's a big thing to actually listen to your body, because not enough of us do, and not enough of us acknowledge the parts of our life that we need to focus on to actually start to feel better, because it's a toxic cycle that we're in. If you're overtired, you're not going to be thinking straight, you're not going to be eating right.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly, she's right, yeah. Everyone sort of says when, I'm tired. Everyone gets tired. Everyone gets fatigued. We all get it. And that's, you've had a busy day and you get tired. But it's the mental tiredness that's completely worlds apart to the physical tiredness. It's when your brain is in overdrive all the time. You're constantly criticising, you're constantly overthinking things, and it literally drains every cell of your body, to the point where your vision's affected,
Did you change your lifestyle factors around it? Did you get put on medication? What was the...
The thing is, there's no one way of treating chronic. Like we'll do another video about it. I think more people suffer with it than you think they do.
Yeah.
No, there's no drug. There's no real cure apart from curing your brain, and that's a very, very long process.
And taking care of yourself and acknowledging the fact that you need it. Maybe.
Yeah. So I didn't work. I had to lie in bed and exercise for 3 months. I found it really, really hard. And you know, I'm back on my feet. I'm back working full time now, which is great.
Yeah.
But there's no cure. The cure is to work on the way you think.
Depression and anxiety as well. It's the way you're thinking about it and dealing with the triggers. And yeah,
I mean, you've had depression, haven't you?
Yeah.
And that drained you. Were you tired?
It's exhausting, and then you almost want excuses to be exhausted, so you've got an excuse to be depressed.
Yeah.
It's weird. It's like an ongoing thing, and it's you know, it is sick. It's a mental illness.
I can't stress enough that your mental well-being can have a direct impact on your physical well-being.
Yeah.
And it hits you like a ton of bricks. It's like you've been smacked by a bus.
It's horrible, and it's really hard when it's not a physical ailment that someone can see.
Yeah, no one can diagnose you properly.
Yeah, and it's not, and you should not feel like you're not worth of feeling like that. You have to look after yourself in the right way.
Yeah.
So,
and stuff like chronic fatigue or anxiety, depression wasn't heard of years and years ago.
And it wasn't talked about either.
No,
like,
but now,
yeah,
loads of people have anxiety.
And it's good that there's a lot more awareness around it. At the same time, I think that there's a lot more triggers for it, and the diagnosis is on the rise, and there's lots of factors that contribute to that.
Anxiety and stress is the norm. I know that's sad, but we have to think of it as normal. We can't think of it as an illness anymore.
No.
Which I really feel passionate about.
Really do. And here's some tips on actually dealing with modern day pressures.
Yeah.
So, should we go with number 1? You go.
Number 1 is find 10 minutes in your day to completely switch off. And I don't mean watching TV, watching your laptop, scrolling through your phone, being in bed. I mean meditation, or lying with your eyes closed, or going outside for a walk and not doing anything. Completely switching yourself off, because I think a lot of us think that, oh, I'm going to watch Netflix for an hour and that's my relaxation. Yeah, you may find that relaxing, but your brain isn't switched off, and our brains are constantly, you know, we're in 2017, our brains are on.
Yeah.
The whole time.
Like, what you'll find, even in, you know, when you do switch off, is you will still, it's not like your brain stops. Your brain will still be going. So if you're actually doing, you know, absorbing external other, you know, energies like Netflix or TV, your brain is still processing.
It's not an instant effect. So when you start meditating, you think, oh, this is going to change my life. It won't at first. The brain will learn how to switch off by itself. A good sort of little tip that I try to use is when, say, negative thoughts or thoughts that shouldn't be happening in that moment come into your head, pretend they're in a balloon and imagine them going up into the sky and then bursting.
Yeah.
And just that visualization in your brain gets rid of that
It's
thought.
relaxing me actually already just thinking about that. So number 2 is finding your identity and living for that. Do things, what defines you and makes you happy? What are the things that you actually strive for? I feel actually self-satisfied in today's world when everything is quite unsatisfactory because you don't ever feel like you've got where you want to be.
You're not at that finish line ever.
Yeah.
I think everyone will relate to that in their career, in their personal life. No one's ever completely like, oh, I'm there.
Exactly.
And we're never going to feel that because we're constantly striving for perfection, but we can't get there. Distraction. And I know this is contradictory to the first one and turning your mind off, but sometimes when you're very, very overwhelmed and stressed and you're constantly thinking about things you need to do, distract yourself with something that you love to do.
Me time.
Yeah.
Like what you do for Georgie time.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So, I love to cook. I love cooking, and I find it really therapeutic. I know lots of people don't, but I find cooking really therapeutic. I don't use a recipe. I just make it up. I'm a very creative person. It's yours?
I'd say for me, if I'm really stressed, I love to write. and it will actually be a time
That's
of
amazing,
I
yeah.
write my blogs and stuff, and you know,
I love that.
poems even. I know
Yeah.
it sounds weird, but I've got like a log of poems on my phone. I'll write
Oh.
to like have that space.
Yeah, no, it's you know, going to exercise.
Yeah.
I said to someone the other day, actually, which is, I don't know, some people might find this sad, that working at that hour of working out is the only time in my life that I don't think about anything else.
It's so true, and it's so exciting going into a class and going, like, especially when that's what's so good about a class.
Completely immersed in
Yeah.
class. Especially classes in London where it's all dark and the music's really loud
Yeah.
and you're in the zone and you're...
Sometimes I will even like put music on and dance around the
Oh
room.
my god, it's the best, isn't it?
Like in your underwear.
Like an absolute lunatic.
Whatever you're wearing, the dogs are staring at me like I'm a crazy woman. And I don't care, and no one, you know,
no
it's
one
the best
cares.
thing.
Yeah.
Let it out.
Let it out, sister! I love that. Surrounding yourself with people that are very stressed can bounce off and make you stressed.
Yeah, you absorb energy.
So obviously don't avoid your friends. Sometimes you just have to say no.
Yeah.
And you have to think
It's
about yourself.
one of the hardest things, and I think like even in the past year I've become a lot better at it, and some people don't respect it.
No.
And then and if you're in the moment, it's really hard to, and I get that, but you have to look after yourself. One last thing with dealing with today's pressures and like everything you're living around and stress is write down it every morning. I know it's hard, but try and make a habit of it. 3 things that you are grateful for, your values, what you have around you that you love.
Yeah, our main message of this is that everyone gets stress, it's a norm, which is something that we can't change. It's the modern world. You may be sitting there, and I know a lot of my friends and my family are like this, you may be sitting there thinking, I'm not a person who suffers with stress. Like, I'm fine.
Yeah.
When actually you probably are, and it's just the long-term effect of it that can actually make you very unwell. Take it from me.
Yes.
Can make you very, very unwell. So do something now. Even if you're not a stressful person, do it now. Do the little tips to help you cope with your day, and it just, you know, reinforces positive affirmations.
Exactly. Smile!
When you're sad, laugh to yourself. Literally sit there and go, ha ha ha. You know, like, no, I know you absolute nutter on the tube, genuinely, like an absolute weirdo. But laugh to yourself.
But thank you so much for watching again.
Yes, thank you. And make sure to give us a follow on our social media. DM us any topics you want us to talk about, any guests you want to see.
Yeah.
Exciting guests are coming. So,
watch this space. Thank you so much for the support. Any feedback is really gratefully received.
loads of love.
Bye!
Okay.
Okay.